Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dadsigner podcast. I'm Michael Smith, your host, and today I'm joined by Ethan Manning. Hey, Ethan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about who you are, where you're located, and a bit about your family?
Like Michael said, my name is I'm Ethan Manning, and I am from Haysburg, Mississippi. Super small town, deep South. Um, if people from Georgia tell you they're from the deep South, they're wrong. Uh, I'm kidding. We're about an hour from the coast, so a lot of fried chicken, a lot of crawfish, a lot of hot days this time of year. Yeah, so I was born and raised here. Yeah, never left. Thought we were gonna, go off and move to Austin, New Orleans, or Nashville, where a lot of our other friends went, but we just found a lot of really good reasons to stay. I mean, family is obviously one thing, but the people here are just like really special and really unique. And Mississippi is just a very cool place to live. Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, tell me a little bit about your family, your kids.
Yeah. I have been married for 11 years to a wonderful wife. She's incredible. She's also a designer herself, and we have a 3-year old, and she is just in. I mean, as all the dads know, listening to this podcast, she is a full blown 3-year old. Trying to catch her jumping off the back of the couch and making sure the crayon's in the right spot, not on the wall. But no, yeah, she's wonderful. It's definitely been a really fun, rewarding season. Being two designers and watching her, kind of experience life and experience, the day to day, the stuff that we're all detail oriented, and kind of seeing her kind of suck that stuff in. So it's really cool.
And she's not quite school age yet, so how do you and your wife divide the responsibilities of parenting?
Yeah, so like I said, one of the great things about not leaving is we're about 5 minutes away from my parents, about 15 away from hers and my wife's, and so we definitely take advantage of the of the grandparents, and we have uh, lots of friends over the years that their kids have kind of grown up and they're babysitting, which is weird to say. Like, I feel like, I mean, I like to say I'm still pretty young, but, seeing some of these kids, they're like 18, 19 now. It's like, whoa, like, where did that time go? But I'm not mad that they can, look after my child.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of how we do it. Yeah. And my wife works from home. And so, but obviously, have it like, it's still a full-time job. And so when a little one's running around underneath them, it kind of gets difficult, but no, she does a great job. She kills it. And she just lets me leave, she lets me leave, go to the office, and I come back, and the bit.
Yeah. Are you in the office, every day?
Yeah, I like to be in the office every day. Some weeks I'll kind of hang back and work from home and help my wife probably 1 or 2 days a week. But yeah, for the most part, being creative director, you kind of have to be like in the trenches at all times. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned it, on the recording, but you are creative director at Rare Design. Tell us a little bit
yes.
about what Rare does and your role there.
So Rare Design is a branding firm, branding agency. They've been 25 years plus, going strong. Hustled in downtown Haysburg, Mississippi. And so I kind of got my start there in about 2013. I was a junior designer. I was still in college. I had my portfolio review there. Rodney Richardson, the original owner, actually Rare is an acronym for his name, Rodney Allen Richardson. And sometimes we like to say, and everyone else, but it's Rodney Allen Richardson Enterprises. So I kind of got my start there in 2013 as junior designer. Was there for about a little over a year. Finished up Southern Miss, got my degree. Worked there a little bit longer, and then I went to work at an ad agency in Jackson. Mad Genius, really cool place. And then worked at I was a senior designer at a church here in town for about 4 years, doing kind of freelance projects for Rare here and there. In between that, went to work for Laurel Mercantile. I think we mentioned Adam Trust. I'm sure he let you in on like the Ben and Aaron story. So I kind of helped Ben and Aaron build up their brand whenever it was Scotsman. Laurel Mercantile kind of first starting out. I was art director, senior designer there for a minute. And then I went to work as digital media director for a co-op, a power company in smack dab in the middle of Mississippi, Taylorsville. There ain't nothing there. Really, really good place though. Really, really good people. Not much going on. But so I was there for that was my COVID job. And then I got called back. Rodney called me back. He said, "Hey man, we need you. We're neck deep in NASCAR. You gotta come back, dude." And so came back in 2021. Was there for a little over a year. And he, he had a rare form of cancer. He was kind of battling through that time, and towards the end there, when he passed away, sadly, a opportunity fell in my lap to go work for a couple of tech jobs, and as we all know, tech jobs layoffs happen, and got laid off twice in the span of a year, and I kind of took it as a message that nah, maybe this ain't for me, maybe tech's not for me, and that's fine. But then, like literally the day I got laid off from the second job, the day they didn't Rare didn't even know this was happening. They called me back to be creative director, and that was in June of 2023, and so I've been creative director ever since. And we've been thankfully still rocking and rolling. People still find value in what we do. And yeah, so I guess I can talk a little bit about Rare, and I mentioned earlier it's a branding agency, but kind of how Rodney, when he came from Nike and took this philosophy of what he learned, you know, it was in the beginnings of, I'm sure you like Donald Miller. I'm sure you read the story Brand Art. Like, it's a big thing. Really, really fun. Really, really important stuff. He was kind of like one of the pioneers. Like even before that was kind of forming. Because obviously Nike, they're all up into like the philosophy, the psychology of who people are. Like everyone can be an athlete. Like there's a reason why the swoosh works. It's not because it's just a cool logo, slapped on a shoe, which we all know it is. But why is it cool, right? Like what makes it cool? And so he kind of learned his and developed his philosophies there and brought that back to Rare to Mississippi, and that's kind of what we do is we get in the trenches with businesses, with individuals, with mayors in town, with the smallest businesses you could think of, up to we're in like conference rooms with like MLB and NHL executives, and it's the same process. Getting in the trenches with them, figuring out their situation, figuring out what's wrong. Like, hey, what's going on? Like you sit, you're saying you've kind of lost sight of who you are. Like, what does that mean? Okay, now let's kind of reevaluate all the internal things you got. Like, how are you talking to yourselves internally? Like, how are people, perceiving you on the outside? How much are you paying attention to that? Do you even have a temperature check on what's going on there? So that's kind of why it's kind of hard to define like kind of what we do. I think branding agency is just like an easy, label to put on it. Because, nowadays, whenever people hear that, they think, oh, you're a marketing agency, or, oh, you're a design firm, or you do logos. And it's like, well, yeah, we do all those things. But it's more, right? It's a lot more. It's a lot more personal. We honestly work too hard. Like we invest too hard in people because we just want to help them figure out, man, like what's going on, like let's figure this out. So
That's cool.
yeah, that's kind of what Rare is and what we do and my role there.
Yeah. And I want to talk to you about some of the work you've done for NASCAR, but because of what you just talked about with the process here, first I want to ask you something unrelated to Rare, but you might have a really good insight into. The Speedway Classic is an upcoming Major League Baseball game that's happening between the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds inside of a NASCAR track and stadium. What is the market that MLB is trying to attract? What's the play there, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, I can't really speak to that event specifically, but maybe an adjacent event that kind of uh, where we kind of approach this question of like positioning of why would NASCAR do this or why would another partnering entity do something like this. I think, well, first and foremost, like it's kind of undeniable the rise in NASCAR, even like whenever they came to us in 2016 to rebrand. I mean, I guess I kind of have to start there a little bit. Sorry, it might get a little long-winded. I'll try to make it quick. So when they first came to us, they didn't even come to us asking for a new logo. They didn't come asking for a new brand or anything. They came to us because they literally said, "Hey, like we've forgotten who we are. Like sponsors
Mm,
are like rolling over us. We've kind of forgot how to talk about ourselves internally, forgot how to speak about ourselves clearly externally. Like we just need some help." And so when they came to us, we first helped them with this like kind of a philosophical like audit. Like, okay, let's like figure this out. Like what's going on? And so from like months of talking back and forth with stakeholders, talking back and forth with fans, talking back and forth with the people that are like in the trenches in the company that maybe, the folks at the top don't even know they're working there, right? Just getting all these words and all these emotions and feelings, we eventually came to this final positioning of we are racing. Like that's it. Like that's the positioning. And so everything from that positioning led to, well, hey, like let's revisit our brand. Like let's revisit our primary mark. Let's revisit our initiatives. Let's revisit our track ownership identities. Let's revisit all the stuff, right? And so just from that one figuring out that thing and trickling down, speaking to the event you're talking about. So one of these things that eventually came from the excitement of that, right? Like, because when that started to happen and started to like infiltrate the market, and they're like, "Oh yeah, racing is back," and now you're getting fans who are NASCAR fans who you would have never thought to be NASCAR fans. Like, you have all this excitement happening, and so now you have all these adjacent entities and adjacent leagues being like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, you guys have figured something out that we've been trying to figure out for decades. Is like, how do we make the unfan a fan?"
mm.
You know, And so the event that I'm speaking to here is they put a racetrack inside of LA Coliseum. Okay. And whenever NASCAR approached us, hey, we have this idea, like we want to do this. Like, I mean, we were like, heck yeah, but like that's crazy. You put a track in LA, that's I mean, like there are some tracks that are like tiny, but like, come on, like how fast you going to get? Like 30 miles an hour, and I think it's like 33 miles an hour. But I mean, that's fast in that small space. Obviously, it's like the stakes are higher. Like the opportunities for like bumping is like really really high, and so that's exciting, right? You obviously don't want people to get hurt, but there's an excitement to that. Even going back to like the very 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 first race on Daytona Beach, there was a lot of sliding and crashing again, it all goes back to that positioning, right? Of like, we are racing. And so I think that because NASCAR fully leaned into who they are again and lean into their actual story, then you have like this crazy stuff happening with like, yeah, let's put a track in a Coliseum. But just the fun they've had with that, the activation, the opportunities for other sponsorships, like outside of the league, outside of I just think that how I see it with this MLB thing, I think number one, it's like the opportunity for more eyes. It's the opportunity for more like, cross pollination of fan bases, because like sport as a whole is just irrational. It's irrational in the best way, right? It's like true fandom. It's like if you can capture that lightning in a bottle, I mean, everyone wants to be a part of it. And I think that whenever I see stuff like that happen and stuff popping off, like, let's put a track inside of a, stadium, like, yeah, let's do it. But when you make the positioning and you make the story and you make whatever that thing is so undeniable and so unignorable, it's like, oh, well, we have to get on this thing, and now you got like the big Amazon deals. I think they have like a huge Netflix series that came out. Um, it's just that reinvigoration of like story actually still does matter. And story gets thrown around so much these days, like in branding. It's like this quip or this like, if you're in a client meeting and you say, oh, story branding, it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. But like there is real magic to it. Like if you, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. Like we always like to say, like, what we do, we love it so much. Like it comes easy to us, but it is like the hardest thing. It's the hardest thinking. It's the hardest doing. You have to like talk to so many people and like really, really dig down deep to find, what this thing means. Right.
That is cool. Also, speaking of baseball, wanted to talk to you about the Doosan Bears because you had an opportunity to work with them, which, I mean, South Korean baseball is having a moment. Curious what that was like working for them and how it was received too, because I know at least fan bases in the States can be pretty
Yeah.
tough critics. Is it the same in South Korea?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you know of the history of the KBO, but they started in '82. That's kind of like that was the year that they were incepted, and it was 10 teams that I think 10 teams that helped start it up. So the Doosan Bears are one of the first teams. I think that they actually won the championship that first year. Um, but so no, first of all, just getting so how they even found us was wild, right? So my associate, Ben Jones, he's the account director at Rare. He gets a LinkedIn message. Hey, my name is Young Chan. Like, would love to have a conversation. Okay, cool. And um, we it just started from there, and we built a relationship with them. And the learning experience of we had like, okay, well now we got to hire interpreters on calls. We have to their contracts are way different. Like the hierarchy of how they talk to each other within the company, incredibly different. We had to mold our process to fit how they think about the process. Just literally like every single step of the process of working with the Bears was a learning process. And it wasn't like we didn't have a hard time. It was just because incredible clients, super, super nice. But it was just every single step, like, okay, what's next? Like, we almost got used to, all right, this is coming up. Ben, you got any time next week that we can like have open? So whatever this challenge comes in, we can have time to figure it. Yeah, sure, okay. and, but it was awesome. We got to take a trip over there to meet them and to meet their team before the project got kicked off, and we got to see a game. They actually played the Landers. It was amazing. It was just a regular in-season game, like nothing, like not postseason, nothing wild. You're talking like fans are waving flags. You got cheerleaders in the stands on these concrete platforms and speakers. Every single player, here in the States, like their walkout songs. Yeah, sure, that's a thing. But their walkout songs, they weren't even like K-pop, South Korean K-pop songs. They were like South Korean songs that they had written for each player, like custom written, and all the fans knew them. The camaraderie with their fans and how they view rivalries over there, it's like this mutual agreement of like we all make the league better, we all make the sport better. Here, like if you get in the wrong bar after a game, you might want to keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Or like, or take the or turn your shirt inside out, right?
Yeah.
Even after the game, he takes us to right out of Johnson Stadium, and all the fans are intermingling, eating, having a great time. But it was just, it was like a fairy tale. It didn't. I was like, where are we? Like this is wild. And everyone's just like incredibly nice, incredibly open, incredibly accepting. That because that was the challenge for us, right? Was like, okay, Americans are coming in, like making an American logo, which we did not want to. That the first thing that me and Ben said whenever we went into this project was, we are not going to Americanize this. We're going to make it, if it goes that way, that's fine. But we're going to make it truly and unequivocally like this is Seoul. This is the Bears, one of the teams that helped start the league. Like this is a heritage team, right? Always consider the fans. And so one of the things that we asked our contact there when he was walking us through the stadium before the game, we were like, he was like, he brought it up. We didn't bring it up. He was like, so you guys seen the Landers new identity? And we were like, yeah, yeah, we love it. He was like, they don't. And we were like,
Oh,
what? But I mean, that could have been a jab because he's a Bears. And listen, that's the thing is that the guys that work on these teams are like the most die hard for their team. But it's weird but they're still super super nice. It's just weird. They know how to turn it off and turn it on. It's wild. But we were like, oh my gosh, like we need to make this like we want the fans to love it. And now, of course, like the Landers fans absolutely love the brand. It just sometimes it takes time, right? Yeah. So what they went with honestly wasn't what we were expecting them to go with. There was like, gosh, 500, 600 iterations that we went through. But they love it. Fans loved it. It got leaked. And when it got leaked, there was a lot of, like, what is this? It looks like an ice cream shop. It looks like, nah, it looks like this. And but when it finally launched, because they partnered with Adidas this year for their uniforms, Adidas campaign came out, blew it out of the water, activated it super well with like our custom typeface we developed and all the marks, and they're rocking and rolling. Not the best team in the league, but but they have fun. They don't care. They're just there for the game. They're there for the love of the game, and that's the kind of fandom that like because I myself like I'm not a huge sports guy, but kind of like what got me into it was obviously working at Rare, but it's the fandom. It's like the that irrational thing that even corporations want, right? Like you got like the team rallies before like Monday or Monday before work starts. Like there's just something about that irrational, like wanting to go for something like intangible that when it's done right, like it's truly magical. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. I was also surprised to see, like you said, you didn't want to like over Americanize it. The names on the back are in Korean characters, but the Bears was like, do they always refer to themselves using the English word Bears, or do they call themselves like something different in Korea?
So they call themselves they speak about the team in Korean whenever they're around, but all of the teams in the KBO have like an English primary on the jerseys. They every team will have a an alt jersey, so we developed their alt jersey with Seoul on the front. And every alt jersey will have the English names on the back. It's like one of the things they do. But whenever they're speaking with each other, it's all Korean.
Interesting. Yeah, you were talking a little bit about that fandom aspect, and I'm curious, not being a total sports guy, like nut kind of thing.
Hmm.
Are there aspects of it that like you're even introducing into how you parent, or like the things that you bring into the home of like, oh, like we as a family are, this kind of thing, or like, because listen, I'm from Philly, outside Philly, so
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to pass off too much of the sports
Huh?
stereotypes to my
Yeah.
children, because it's not the type of people I want them to be. But how do you view it, like being surrounded by that all day and then like bringing home the good stuff to your daughter?
Yeah, no, honestly, I keep a lot of that in the office. I mean, there's still like the passion and excitement that that we share as a family. Like whenever she's like drawing pictures or looking at something and finds like she has the moment of realization. That kind of fandom kind of like leaks in, right? I think that's just kind of a part of the universalness of it, right? But no, for the most part, because again, like we're from South Mississippi, I mean Southern Miss is to the top. They're in our town, and so I mean it's I would say we do have a sports town, but it's pretty low key down here. It's pretty chill, and so I'm in the trenches with it all day, like hearing. Because you're working with like all these different clients and hearing all these different stories and all these different fan bases and all these different emotions and feelings. When I come home, I try to like, all right, that's staying in the car. When I get back in the car in the morning, or when I get in the shower, like that's when I can like, put it back on.
And what types of things is your daughter currently loving to do?
And she's loving to paint. She's loving to draw. We're still trying to figure out the right bluey ratio of like how much TV. But no, she loves being outside. Man. I mean, like she's just in that really really awesome like the awakenings of like figuring things out and like when she goes to a new friend's house like oh it's like a brand new world and it's stuff you wouldn't even think about like oh she's having fun under that thing over there. What's the big deal about being under that? And it's like she like she's creating her own little worlds, and it's like when the imagination starts to build. And yeah, so she definitely loves art. She definitely loves playing with her cousins. She's we're just trying to facilitate that as much as we can.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
has how has being a dad impacted the way you approach both your work, your time after work, all that kind of stuff?
So when I was in college and even like early in my work life, maybe you resonate with this, but I was a true like grinder. Like I would just like it didn't matter. if it was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., like we got to finish this thing, or I got to finish this thing, or I got to like take it to like I got to go the extra mile to make sure that whatever I'm delivering is like the best of the best. Um, and I'm still there, but I mean, I like whenever we introduced a daughter to the family, it's like all that's still there. Now it's just compressed to like when I hit the office, it's like 100% like, all right, well, I'm here, like we're rocking and rolling. And before a parent, like, your parent friends tell you, oh, things are going to be this way, things are going to be that way, whatever, whatever. And you're like, ah, yeah, whatever. And then you get in it and you're like, oh man, like you're so right. Like it's like all of the stress, good or bad stress, and all of the things that you do, like they're still there. They only grow. It's just all about how do you like where do you place those sections throughout your day and your life now, instead of it just being like this, well, I just have my whole day to like have to do whatever. It's like, no, I have to like whatever that feeling is, now I've got to cram that feeling into, 5, 6 hours, right? Boom. And then that's what I was telling you earlier about like when I come home, like, shed that coat. All right, that's that. We're hanging out with the family. You know what I mean? And that took a lot. I mean, I'm still, that's a process, right? I'm not perfect in that by any means.
You have any tools or tricks to help in that transition between the office and the house?
Oh, dude, I don't know if anybody should be taking any advice from me. Um, I don't know. It literally just took me and I've never been like an addict in any sense, so I'm not trying to downplay this at all, but I feel like it's just kind of like you just literally have to force yourself. Like if you're going to quit cold turkey, because you can let that leak and you can let that build and you can let that fester and you can try to make them both work. Some people do, and that's fine. Some people can't make it work. I'm one of the people that it cannot work in. Like with parenting, it's like I just kind of every day it's that choice of like, okay, dude, you need to like you're hitting the door, getting that hug around the leg, put your phone down, dude. You know what I mean? Like you're good. And so, yeah. So I guess the advice would be like everybody's different and everybody knows their limits, and I guess just be attentive and listen to yourself and listen to your own limits. Don't try and like I don't know, don't try and force something that isn't sustainable. Um I guess that's
Yeah.
my only word.
I've had a similar scenario, and I'm only sharing this story because it relates to the total conversation. Someone got me on FanDuel, and
Okay.
uh, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun until one night I found myself betting on whether the pitch and the Korean baseball was going to be a ball or a strike, because it was the time of day where nothing else was playing. It was just Korean baseball. It was the only sport that was playing at that time, and I was betting on balls and strikes. And I was like, I have to stop. And so
Yeah.
I did. I just cashed out. I deleted the app, and I was like, I'm done. I cannot. This is a reality check for me that I cannot go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I it's as hard and as simple as that, right? It's like you have to come to the realization of can't do this anymore. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
a change has to happen. Like whether it's the next hour or tomorrow, like change has to happen.
yeah, yeah.
For sure.
That's so good. Well, that kind of rolls us into the last two questions I have for you, and those are: as a dad, what has been your greatest joy, and what has been your biggest learning as a parent?
Yeah. So, I mean, my greatest joy as a dad, as of right now, is um, like kind of seeing the world like through my child's eyes, and like there were two classes I took in college, and that it matters. Trust me, it's weird, but that really taught me, like you learn empathy through life, right? You learn it like it's not something you're just like, oh, I know empathy now. But there are two classes like figure drawing and graphic design history, and these two classes like kind of taught me like these interesting ways to view empathy and to view like how like you should treat people, or how you should uh, in a more in-depth way. It's like really considering the person, really considering everything around you. Like we're all connected, right? I feel like we all have to get to that point in life. Like whether you're a hard nose, like I'm gonna take care of mine and I'm gonna do me, like that's fine or whatever. But you eventually have to get to that point, but seeing like that through my child's eyes as she like kind of learns, like as we kind of like, shepherd her through this, like through life, and how we're treating people and how, her grandparents treat people and how, her friends treat people. And, just seeing that like kind of unfold, is like such a joy, like the good and the bad, right? Because like in the bad, like when you're in the lesson teaching moments, like it's an opportunity for you to step in and like kind of and facilitate that, right? I just think that, um, I'm just finding great joy in that right now, and try not to take it for granted, because I mean she's already 3. Golly, dude. Um, and if I talk about it, I'm gonna choke up. So that's my greatest joy right now. It's just like seeing that kind of unfold, and just knowing that that's my responsibility. You know what I mean? Is to like facilitate that, and that's heavy. Yeah,
Yeah, what has been your biggest learning?
man. Dude, like every day is just like just I mean, trying to figure it out. Like obviously trying to get wisdom from family and from friends, and I guess my biggest learning is that I'm always learning.
I love it. Very meta. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing about your work, your family. If folks wanted to connect with you online or see some of your work, where can they go to do that?
Yes, so I am creative director at Rare. If you want to get in touch with Rare Design, my email is ethan@rare.design, or you could just go to rare.design to see the work that we've done over the years, or manningdesign.co is my kind of like personal website I've kind of had throughout the years.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.